So this is an Equifax credit report. So after you pull your TransUnion and your Experian and your Equifax, each credit report has its own nuances in a sense. So not all of them have all of the same fields. That's the word I was looking for. So a couple things. Capital One account, available credit, negative 174. This is a charge off. Why is an available credit being furnished? Not sure. Definitely something worth questioning. So, account history. You want to look through all of these things because all of this matters when you are creating an inquiry for a charge off. Like I said, I don't really do the dispute part until I have cold hard facts. So right now, I'm creating an inquiry into this charge off. So just a few things off the top. Balance from 2023. I know it doesn't show when it was open. We're going to get down to that in a second. But just based on the balance history, there's nothing that happened before January 2023, based on the balance history. Also, it could only be showing the last 2 years. But we don't know what date it was open, and we're going to find that out in a second. So just based off the balance history, there's a few things I can recognize. This account was open February, March, April, May, June, and somewhere between June and July, it was charged off. How I can tell that by the balance history is because here the balance continues to increase. Although it stayed the same here, it increased again here. So one thing about charge-offs, once all of the fees, late payments, all of that are added, you're gonna get to one number. And it's just gonna sit at that one number. So you can pretty much tell just by 2082 to 2122 to 2174. This is also an issue because why isn't May 2024 not showing any data? There's 3 ways something can be removed from your credit report. It's either inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. This may or may not fall into that incomplete category. This may or may not fall into that inaccurate category. But that's why we created an inquiry. Scheduled payments. I said nothing before January. There's a scheduled payment February, March, April, May, June. Once an account is charged off, there should no longer be any scheduled payments. So that's just an FYI to know about charge-offs. Once an account is charged off, there should be no more scheduled payments. If there's scheduled payments, that's inaccurate. All right. So credit limit history. 2002 credit limit didn't change. So this is where, like I say, something I would dispute. So let's say if I had a $3,000 credit limit, but they're only reporting a $2,000 credit limit. That's something I can dispute. Because that's something I got proof of. Like, hey, I have proof that you're reporting the wrong credit limit. Everything else, I create an inquiry into. I want to put the ball in their court. I need them to answer these questions. Because if they can't answer these questions, then they must remove this information. If they don't remove this information, then we go to whatever steps follow that. So again, for May 2024, we have no history. So February, amount past due, $25. March, 70. So as you can see from the amount past due, there's no payment made. That's why the amount past due is increasing. So we go from 25, this means this should be the first 30-day late payment. 60, 90, 120, 150, charge off. So once an account goes into charge off status, the amount due now becomes the full balance on the account. So everything following that after it's charged off would now be the full balance due on it. Still, we have something incomplete right here. So this is something that would go into our inquiry. Although we may be able to assume that it's probably 2174, why are we assuming? Let's let them answer that. Because especially when we go down to payment history, they don't even have a payment history for May 2024. That's why none of the other information is filled in up here. So that makes sense. But we also have another issue. Let's try to get all this on the screen. So charge-off stay in your credit report 7 years. 7-year account looks like it was open on August 1st, 2022. There's no other payment history, balance, information. There's no other history that shows anything about these 4 months. What was paid, what was due, what was on time, what was late, whatever. So if somebody was looking at this account, they would go straight to January or so thinking that this is when things kind of kicked off. But research, we even look at January 2023, January 2024. This one says 30 days. This one says charge off. Something's not right. Because now, up here, balance, January has nothing. Scheduled payment, January has nothing. Actual payment, this is one of the biggest things. Nothing, nothing, nothing. But here, 30 days late. That's calls for inquiry. That's calls for inquiry. Here, June 2023. What's going on here? Why is it incomplete? Why is it no data available? Somebody's sending the data, you're storing the data. Why is there no data available for these 2 months? All right. We don't have a date of last activity. That's a problem because now that leaves you at a disadvantage. You have no idea how to kind of go about this. That's why I said I don't dispute, because depending on what you find in these charge-offs, you may need to ask more questions to gather more information. Because one of my questions is, all right, we went from September, October, November, December on time payments to January. Why don't I have a date of last activity? And why is it showing the date of my last payment is in October 2022 when I have an on-time payment in November and an on-time payment in December, and then finally late in January? Where's the proof that I made this payment? Is the actual amount paid? Where's all this information? These are things I create an inquiry into because I need to know, hey, where's this? Where's this? Where's this? What is this? What's this? It was open in August. The first payment on time, so it reported on time in September. So a payment was made in September to report on time in October. Payment was made in October to report on time for November. Payment was made in November to report on time for December. Payment made in December to report on time. Well, no payment made in December to report a 30-day late. So based on the way they have this lined out, date of last payment, October 2022, and what's here don't add up, especially what's up here. Because nothing shows 2022 anything. They're actually missing everything up into February 2023. So this account itself is incomplete payment history. Because no matter which way you spin it, whatever, each one of these on payments costs for something, but nowhere else are the on-time payments being reported. I'm not saying that they are or aren't, but I'm definitely questioning why is it only reported here, but none of the other data anywhere else. I have to make that part make sense for myself. If that part don't make sense for myself, I can go for it. Calls for an inquiry. So we also have data first delinquency, January 4th, 2023. And we got delinquency first reported July 2023. So we got a data first delinquency, January. Delinquency first reported July. Data first, January. Inquiry first reported July. Now, we don't know if this is 180 days, if this is charged off. Now, this is even more of a question. So, because that makes a huge difference. Now, if this went from 150 to 180 charged off versus this going from 150 to charged off, because now that brings to question things like this. From what it looks like, June may have been 180 days late. So, but as a consumer, it's not up to you to try to figure that out. It's up to them to make sure that the information that they reported is 100% accurate. Just simple as that. And always, you have the creditor's information at the bottom. So after you pull your TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian credit reports, you want to make sure you look through each one. And you want to compare each one of the accounts and each section of each account. Make sure that each account has all the balance history, has all the scheduled payments, scheduled payment history, actual payment history, credit limit history. Got it. So you want to know this so you can kind of compare, see whether or not, all right, this is just something Equifax does, because it's Equifax credit report. This is just something Equifax does, or is it something that's a one-off thing with this creditor in Equifax? And that's going to determine whether or not you want to create an inquiry. Like I said, I only create a dispute once I have black and white. This may be one of those accounts where we have black and white. All right, Republic Finance. So if you look them up, there's some type of creditor that was founded 1952. They give out loans, etc. All this with just a quick Google search. All right, account status. They got the account in collection. That's the first inquiry. So before we go deeper into these accounts, there's some accounts where you have to dive deep into everything that's going on, and there's some of them where some things will just kind of stick out at you. This is one of those accounts. So first, let's go down to the bottom. Public finance. You ever looking for your creditor's information or debt collector, whoever's on your credit report, the furnisher, whoever furnished that information on your credit report, their contact information is going to be at the bottom. If you need to send them a letter, you need to send them, call them, or whatever. File a CLPB complaint, whatever. Comments. We have collection account, which is intriguing because I would assume it have been charged off. That's my assumption. Date of first delinquency, October 2023. Want to keep that in mind. This is a note loan. Delinquency first reported May 2024. Scheduled payment, 156. So if this is in fact in collection or in charge-off status, my question is, I'm not saying that the person didn't make a scheduled payment or whatever, but why is there a scheduled payment amount on a charge-off and or collection? Why is there an amount past due of $741? Because as we see on the other ones, scroll, as we see on this other charged-off account, the balance is the full charged-off amount, 51,802,802. The amount past due is 802, which is the full balance. Scheduled payment, there is none because the account is charged off. So I'm not saying that the account's supposed to be in charge-off status. I'm not saying that it's not. But I have a question as to why the creditor isn't reporting this account as a charge-off and they're reporting it as a collection with an amount past due and a scheduled payment amount. These are things that I have questions about. So yes, this is why we question things like this. It's like status says in collection. This is a creditor. So to me, I'm confused as to how is this creditor reporting this as a collection, as if they're the debt collector, which I actually have no problem with as long as everything else lines up. That's like you straddle the fence. Can't play both sides of it. So scheduled payment amount, 156. Not sure why. Amount past due, 741. Not sure why. All right. Let's kind of look at the balance and the payment, see how we got here. So you always want to compare these with the actual payment history. So 2024, I'm assuming around this time is when they got charged off. Also, what I want to point out is June, July, August, September, October, November, December. None of this is filled in. We're in 2025. None of this is filled in. Why? Why are we missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 months of history on these two? Balance history, scheduled payment history. Because they're still saying the payment is due. So we should still have a scheduled payment all the way out here. Actual payment, that still should say zero or whatever. I mean, it's blank if the last payment was made February 2024. But there's no, I have questions for why June is blank, why July is blank, why August is blank, why September is blank, why October is blank. I'm writing all this up in a dispute. Credit limit, that's going to be blank because it's a note loan. Amount past due, I want to hold off on showing the payment history right now because the payment history has some very interesting things in it. So amount past due, May, 181. June, 337. July, 407. August, 423. September, blank. There's no amount past due for September, or you guys didn't record it, or what. Either way, I got questions. Why is it blank? October, 156. November, 312. So December, yada, yada, yada. All the amounts past due. Why does it stop at May if there's still an amount of 741 past due per the credit report. We're not any other information. We can into why June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and January are blank if they are saying that the amount past due is 741 and it's still due. Because if by this being blank, it may not mean a lot to you, but by this being blank, anything could have happened here. You could have made a payment in July, August, September, October. That's just not being reported right now. So if somebody was to pull your credit report right now, they only thing they see is that you left off with this creditor with a $741 balance still past due. Not charged off, still past due. That looks different. A past due balance looks a lot different than a charged off balance to the creditor because you're still actively late. Once it's charged off, once an account is charged off, after about 3 years, the creditors, yes, they still factor that into your interest rates, but like if you're other things to build up your credit, in them 3 years, your credit should be strong enough to get approved for stuff, and the credit is just going to kind of, all right, I see that you had a hiccup 3 years ago. It's not going to affect you as much after them 2.5 to 3 years. So that we have incomplete payment history, we don't even know when we can get over that threshold. But this is one of the biggest things I want you to pay attention to. I just want you to know there's a section under the Fair Credit Reporting Act that states should be furnished and there should be a maximum accuracy. I don't know I can't think of the exact words right now. But yeah, maximum accuracy. I just want you to look at this payment history and tell me in what world can this be accurate. Because you can't tell me in what world this can be accurate. There's no reason to dispute this. Everything going on with this account, we're gonna have to figure this out in court. Because at this point, you just don't care. I'm not even gonna go into like, all right, let me compare what happened here, let me compare what I'm not even going into all that. But yeah, when I'm together a lawsuit or whatever, but right now we're looking at so we got on-time payments for all these months on the credit report, 2023, but we missing January and April. January, we said we was 30 days late. June, we don't know what happened in June. It's blank, so I'm assuming there wasn't a payment made. But also with that assumption, that'll mean there's no payment made in April. So I'm not gonna assume that there's no payment made. Because this is my credit report. So I'm not just gonna assume that there's no payment made when it's blank here, but it's on time here. So my first assumption automatically, oh yeah, it's on because y'all didn't put none in these two. So June have to be on time. October, November have to be on time. We can't say all of these blank and all of them have different things. We can't say that. So now I have even more questions. So we saying that amount, all right, so August, 90 days, September, 90 days, October on time. So meaning there was a payment made somewhere between September rolling into October. There had to be because it's an on-time payment. September, it said amount past due, 0. August, amount past due, 423. So logically, you would think that they probably paid the 423 plus what was due for September to be on time again before they was 30 days late. But you go to the actual payment made, it was only 146. So I have questions about that. Although the person made the payment, they probably did make the 4 something payment, and they probably broke it down as 2 different payments. But that still leaves me to question: so they still not getting off of this? It's just ain't no way possible. They're not getting off of that. 24, trying to see what happened March, April. Scheduled payment 156. There's nothing going on right here.